We should call the White House. We should email them. He said hundreds of times he would veto the bill, but he wants that Hate Crimes Act. So to tell us what's in there and how we can fight it, Reverend Ted Pike. Reverend?
Yes, this hate crimes bill will destroy 3 amendments to the Constitution. The 14th Amendment, it'll exalt particularly homosexuals, Jews, Latinos, so on, above the rest of the population. It'll also destroy the 10th Amendment, which gives states rights to enforce hate crimes laws locally without government intervention. This makes a seamless unity between federal enforcement and local law enforcement, which, of course, is the very definition of a police state. And then finally, it will eventually destroy the First Amendment, because the real momentum of this legislation is to establish a bias-oriented justice system in America, running parallel with our traditional English law. And once the cases come through the courts, they'll be turned over to federal judges and judges throughout the justice system, which will make law from the bench. They will not only protect homosexuals from physical violence, they'll broaden that to include verbal violence against them, which of course means quoting from the Bible. So this is the dissent now, if Obama signs it on Wednesday, which he's scheduled Wednesday to consider the Defense Appropriations Bill and the hate bill attached. If he signs both of them, then we are heading the way of Canada.
And this ends equal protection under the law, and a video that you posted from C-SPAN went viral on the web, hundreds of thousands of views, of Attorney General Holdren and others.
Absolutely. Holder flat out stated in the Senate Judiciary hearing this spring that there is no equal protection for most Americans under the hate crimes law. It's only for specially protected groups who are viewed as victims of white Christian heterosexual persecution over the centuries.
Reverend Ted Pike is our guest. Reverend, when you talk about Canada or England or Germany, where first they pass a law saying you can't deny the Holocaust, and then once they've done that, they say you can't criticize the EU, you can't criticize French, can't criticize British produce. People have been arrested for that. Then Robin Page, BBC, non-political, host of One Man and His Dog, a rural affairs show where he travels to small towns to show the local culture. He gave a speech, and we had him on the show, and this was the headline in the BBC, Robin Page arrested for saying the word homosexual. Doesn't matter if the word homosexual is like heterosexual, a scientific term. They said, well, the groups found it was hurtful that he said rural communities deserve the same rights as Muslims and homosexuals. He was arrested. And again, we had him on the radio show here. We see pastors being fined and arrested in Canada. The groups pushing this admit what their plan is, a complete end of the First Amendment.
Absolutely. There's no checks and balances whatever in this legislation. It's wide open, and there are many groups who want to get on the hate crimes bandwagon. Certainly the Muslims have gotten on board. Even pedophiles, bestiality advocates, things like that are just waiting to come under the special protection of so-called sexual orientation under this legislation. Now, what's really important right now is we have a couple more days here in which we can bombard President Obama to keep his many promises. This spring and early summer, he and Secretary Gates flat out warned the Congress repeatedly that if they added on an extra $100 billion of pork, military pork, which means thousands of F-35, unnecessary F-35 jet engines on this hate bill, they would see to it that this hate bill and arms bill are both vetoed. That's exactly what Congress delivered to the president last Thursday. Now, the president has said repeatedly he wants the hate crimes bill, he will sign it, and so on, but there is an implied condition there that this package meets his terms of stripping off excessive pork and being amenable to what he thinks is a practical defense bill considering the realities of present warfare. He has criticized this legislation, this authorization bill. He says it harks back to the 1980s. It's outdated. It's designed for warfare with Russia on the plains of of the Soviet Union and so on. He has a lot of complaints with this legislation. What we need to do right now is get those emails going into the White House, letting him know in no uncertain terms that we're not going to stand for him moving us into a hate crimes bureaucracy like Canada. And I just have several suggested messages which I need to have people send in immediately. In fact, do it at the next station break, because this is a national emergency such as we have never seen before in the history of our republic. What I'd like you to do is to go to whitehouse.gov/contact. That's whitehouse.gov/contact, and just cut and paste in these several messages. Mr. President, I will vote out Democrats at midterms if you sign the freedom-destroying hate crimes bill. Again, Mr. President, I will vote out Democrats at midterms if you sign the freedom-destroying hate crimes bill. And then the next message I'd like you to send is this. Mr. President, I expect you to keep your promise to veto any military authorization bill that wastes $100 billion of taxpayers' money on unnecessary F-35 jet engines. Again, a little slower. Mr. President, I expect you to keep your promise to veto any military authorization bill that wastes $100 billion of taxpayers' money on unnecessary F-35 jet engines.
Okay, Pastor, in the time we have left, and we'll have you back up again in the next week in the aftermath of whichever way this goes, shouldn't we also get on the offensive now to start running people for Congress and start beating the drum now for the repeal of it in less than a year and a half when there is a new Congress and undoubtedly Obama is going to probably lose control? Because Republicans will act like they're against this, but if we don't make a big deal out of it now while it's still on the front burner, it won't be as big an issue once they have a new freshman class in there. Don't we need to go ahead and also start hoping for the best but preparing for the worst and moving for the repeal of this First Amendment attacking situation that also gets rid of equal protection under the law, as the Attorney General Holder admits?
I think we're going to know the answer to that in about 3 days, Alex. What we need to do now is concentrate our firepower in literally thousands, if not tens of thousands, of emails coming in, and they will be electronically counted. They'll give a strong recorded.
Okay, whitehouse.gov/comments. Contacts.
That's whitehouse.gov/contact. And if people would like to get this information, just come to truthtellers.org. We have it all there on the action page.
All right. Pastor Ted Pike, thank you so much. You fought the good fight. Hopefully we can beat this. Take care.
Thank you, Alex.